Alright, welcome to the very first game of 3 Musketeers and BeelStarmon. Really excited to showcase this new gameplay. But yeah, just going straight into the mulligan, we have to go for a reshuffle. We have to go for it. Doesn't look that great. We have nothing to work with. Ideally, we need to see our level 3s, level 4s. We are stack building quite a bit in this deck. It is very focused on trying to digivolve up. So in the early stages, 3, 4, 5, 6s, that would be great. If not, this is even better. Sparrowmons, Toy Agumons, to help us cycle through the deck and go through the engine as quickly as possible is what we're trying to look for. We are going second, so we have quite a bit of memory to work with, which is pretty nice here. And we're gonna go ahead and start digivolving. We're gonna go for Sparrowmon. Now the thing is, how I like to play is I always like to keep the Sparrowmon because we want to utilize the starter main phase of Sparrowmon. So I decided to hard play the Toy Agumon out there, tossing away the Hurricane Screw Shot since I don't need it immediately, and then draw 2 cards, and then basically finish off with a Deputymon, passing the opponent down to 2 memory. And then next turn, when my Sparrowmon comes out, I have the second Hurricane Screw Shot to put it underneath to get some value out of it right here. Might be a little bit risky because I digivolved into Deputymon this early, and that's my only level 4 that I have to work with. But the reason why I did that was because I just felt like the opponent was a bit too early. I don't feel like the opponent was able to do anything with us with Vagamon just yet. They don't have tamers, you know, they're not able to suspend us down to swing over just yet. Looking at it like that, they're setting up themselves as well. So I immediately just pushed out with the Sparrow, tuck something underneath, gain a memory, draw 1 as well, thanks to Kapuri, which is really nice. And here I'm actually going to be trying to see if there is an opportunity, if there is a way to actually clear both the bodies that are out immediately in this moment. We can digivolve into either Gigadron or Megadramon. And let's just go for a quick cycle first because I want to check the top 3 deck cards of my deck and then see where I can go from there. Unfortunately, I won't really be able to pop like a Tamer 3 cost, but I can potentially pop the Terramon on there. But I just want to really check and then rearrange and put everything back to the top. That's one of the nice things. And here, I'm just going to go straight into BeelStar Ace preemptively because I see the access of Hurricane Screw Shot. Might as well grab it from trash, might as well use it and pop those 2 things to get value right away. We don't always have to sit as a level 5 to wait for the opponents to attack into us. We can always preemptively go into the ace cards so that we can actually start removing things. And yeah, when there's 3 bodies to go for, why not, right? So at this moment here, I know that Terramon and Zafagamon are really good at suspending and beating us down. At this moment, we don't really have much counters. Generally, in this matchup is actually pretty good because we have a lot of option cards to deal with them, whereas they're mainly immune to Digimon effects. So I felt like the BeelStars was probably going to be in threat next turn. They have a memory setter, they have memory boost, they can climb all the way to a 6 very easily with that entire stack. So I'm just going to go ahead and swing with BeelStar and try to chip away as much as possible. It is at 13k, which is totally fine. If I run into anything big and get deleted, I don't mind either, just because I don't mind giving the ace overflow just from my own turn. And the fact that I had a feeling that they're going to come out and try to like go for some crazy plays here anyways, I felt it was really, really important to establish a second stack ready to go and raising. So I'm digivolving at the back as much as I can, just so to guarantee and make sure that I have a clapback play and push out, and then I can access into like a level 6, which I have. I have options. I have Magna Kidmon, I have Gundramon, you know, I can go into it immediately, which is really important because this deck is not super good at gaining memory itself consistently, especially compared to like this Zafagamon deck. We don't have boost to work with. We don't even have like much memory tamers to work with. We gain a little bit of memory, but that's about it. Therefore, there's times that you just really need to digivolve at the back and sit tight so that we can immediately go into a level 6 the turn after. And, you know, depending on what we need in the situation, we can try to control the board even further. We can already see they're trying to suspend us down and all that. Looks like they want to go into Rapid. Rapid is going to de-digivolve us. And by de-digivolving us, the ace overflow is going to happen. So both our bodies are fairly in threat. Arguably speaking, I maybe probably even should have swung with the Sparrowmon there from the last turn just to chip away extra damage, the pressure there, just because knowing that they can suspend like basically our entire board and attack over, you know, Vortex, unsuspend as well, gain memory and keep their turn. So maybe I should have done that, but I kind of wanted to, you know, keep the Sparrowmon on there just because I really wanted to utilize the start of turn to tuck something underneath so I can draw and cycle and see if they have. You guys can see though, we don't really have options to work with at the moment. We kind of just started off with the 2 Hurricane Screw Shots and haven't been able to find anything else moving forward. Looks like they're going to go for the Hard Play and Rapidmon, which is really, really smart. They still gains the immunity, still gets that protection, and then they can Digizorb into an Argo going into Zavaga, suspending down and unsuspend, and basically they're gonna try to start attacking us at this point. Now the thing they're gonna have to really bank on is the fact that we don't have a secondary BeelStar Ace, because with that we can probably try to counterplay, even though we don't have any options to grab back in the trash, but we can potentially just still play one off our hand. But yeah, we just didn't have it, and yeah, their gamble took off for sure. So they're able to swing over us with Vortex, gain memory back, and go into a second Zavaga right here, which is really cool. And because of Vortex, they're allowed to attack, even though that Rapidmon was played exactly this turn, and they're just going to swing over us here, unsuspend again, and just getting rid of our Sparrowmon, which, like I mentioned earlier, probably should have actually attacked with it just to get a bit of value here. So we're going to have to deal with two Zavagamons, which is kind of tricky, with both of them sort of having a form of protection against Digimon effects, but not quite yet, because nothing was unsuspended during our turn at this moment. So it is kind of not immune, it is vulnerable, but I have to keep in mind the Rapidmon protection does stay there. And because the fact that we don't have an option card, we just have to go for a big gamble right here. Decide to play the Toy Agumon, and thankfully, very clutch, we got the Chaos Triangular, and that is just incredibly important. Because what we're trying to do here is we're trying to see if we can remove at least one Zavagamon somehow. But thankfully, again, getting the exact perfect option here, we get to remove both of them with Chaos Triangular. Chaos Triangular is going to be able to pop the unsuspended and unprotected Zavagamon. Once again, option cards works against it, but the Rapidmon is immune to the whole thing. But we can use Magna-Kitmon's end of turn effect to attack over, trashing the Chaos Triangular, pumping up to extra 3000 DP, making it 17k in total, and we barely dodged a bullet there as well, hitting into the Imperial Ace, and we managed to basically go over it by a shy of extra 1000 DP. That was actually super high gamble, super high roll there. Definitely gonna admit we got a little bit lucky at that moment, but now we're basically set up and doing those two checks with Magna-Kit with piercing as well, thanks to Megadramon. We can actually go for the Beelstar X to finish the game. We're gonna quickly chip away with Toyagu. I don't mind what it was and what it is, and I'm just gonna go straight into Beelstar X, use an option. Not gonna get any value for using it, but the purpose is to trash and finish the game off. Alright, game 2, we are playing against Dragon Lynx, which is also an archetype that got a whole bunch of new support in EX7. So we're going to be looking at our opening hand. This looks pretty good to keep just because I can see a 3 and a 4. So that's something I can sort of work with, especially with Toy Agumon. I can use it to search the red one, which is really good. And we are going second as well, so we're guaranteed some draws. And here they're just going to go off the bat with a Jazarmon to basically search. And we can just have options here. I could Digivolve in the back and then Digivolve again, and I'm just like, okay, what's the follow-up play there? I don't really find one, so I was like, Toy Agu would be perfect, because then Toy Agu can grab me, fetch me pieces, and then now I can Digivolve into any of my level 4s at free will and just pass them perfectly back to one memory and give them as little resources to work with as possible. Now, the other thing is then we want to be looking for a level 5, which I believe we do have one in the hands, so then we can sort of do a follow-up play in the next turn, and then we can just Digivolve and continue to draw. Now this is good because then we definitely want to go into this Gigadramon. By Digivolving, we can basically search our top 4, tuck in a piece underneath, and utilize what we want to have, put them back to the top, just because I feel like those cards I want to cycle and get them back into it again later on. And I just want to start clearing the board a little bit. So I decided to go into Magna-Kit. Magna-Kit could basically allow me to use Durblitz. Durblitz will delete the other Digimon that they have on the board. Unfortunately, I don't get to use the end of turn because I attacked with the Gigadramon already, but at least I have a strong body on the board. I did give them quite a bit of memory to work with, but at least this helps me establish a strong presence, and I just need to Digivolve as much as I can and cycle up and draw cards and basically allow me to do more follow-up plays coming up. So looks like they're not really able to find the pieces they need. When it comes to Dragon Lynx, it's really important that they find Hina, and they end up de-Digivolving our Magna-Kid, and Magna-Kid is not going to be able to do a lot of security checks. I love the Magna-Kid combo, especially in the early stages, but here I'm going to go for Gigadramon to attack, since my Gigadramon is at least 11k thanks to the DP buffs. And noticing that they don't have a lot of resources in the board, I decided to just go for a Durblitz and basically just get rid of their Zazarichmon, the level 5, because I don't want them to climb up potentially, but we do give them a Hina from the security check, which is huge for them because now they're just going to constantly gain memory. Usually we're going to end up with the board with a Digimon anyways, so that will give them a lot of value. They're going to get all their on-play effects. as they Digivolve up their stack, and it's going to be really good setup for them moving forward. But you know, I feel like I'm pretty comfortable in this position. I don't feel like they can do too much just yet, just because, you know, I can continue to play, you know, I can continue to hatch, I can continue to Digivolve as well in the next following turn, and basically continue to apply pressure over there. But here they are setting up bit by bit even more. They set up a second Hina now. They're going to gain a lot of memory in the next turn, but nonetheless, we're just going to continue and probably want to attack. I want to contemplate if I want to swing with this Gigadramon again because it's 11k. I'm not really afraid if it gets deleted, just because, again, I can follow up with stacks and so on. Swing here. Ooh, find a Mega Digimon Assembly, which is kind of spicy right there. We'll find out if they use it later or not, but that tells me that they could possibly be playing Ragnarlord. So I'm going to go ahead and swing with the Toy Agu just because I feel like it's going to be in threat. Potentially it's going to get deleted as well. Maybe I should have just kept it on the board just because, but again, like, I know they have a lot of removal. They can delete stuff based off of DP as well. So I just felt like, you know, getting that check in early could just help. And then by doing so, then I can set up closer to lethal, because the goal for me is to go into potentially any other 3 Musketeer and then finish off with BeelStar X. And this actually means they are in that lethal range for us. But here they go into their full line combo, going to Metallic. Metallic is going to de-digivolve us all the way back down to Toy Agu, since it can't go past the level 3. And now we're basically stopped from being able to Digivolve at all. So this is here, like, I don't really want to go into the Sparrowmon. I was looking at the cards with the options I have in hand. I could potentially maybe try to delete it, but I just don't want them to float a body back out as well. But looking at their trash and thinking back right now, maybe it would have been okay, because they wouldn't be able to float something that strong anyways. So I decided to go for a chip, going into my Toy Agumon here, and then Digivolve and Tank Bomb. But this is the moment I kind of realized I think I could have made a much better play. I felt like I could have actually hard played the Tankmon, use the Tankmon's effect to potentially just de-Digivolve their Metallic Dramon. But I also didn't really want to do that, just because I felt like if they go into another level 6, then that's just going to give them even more value, especially if they go into the Volcanic, and then with the Volcanic, they can then float back the Metallic. I really didn't want that either, but maybe in hindsight, I think maybe hard playing the Tankmon was the way. But I decided to just Digivolve in the back and set up, because I wanted to go for a follow-up sort of like clapback here. And I was really hoping to see maybe at least Gundramon or even another Avenged Kidmon, so I can potentially maybe deal with that Metallic Dramon a little bit, but also like ideally have Gundramon so I can protect myself and stay in the game a little bit longer. But now they're, you know, starting to attack back at us, and I really just have to push out here at this moment. And again here, I feel like I really should just Digivolve into BeelStar. I want to bait for it, you know, I was just like, hey, sit here and wait a little bit, but realizing here again that might have been not the best play, because that means they can now still Digivolve up all the way here. They can potentially basically remove our board, and then they go into this other stack, because since, again, like I said, they have a lot of removal. So I really feel like I shouldn't have been afraid. The entire game I've been really afraid about the Metallic, you know, when it would leave the battle area, other by their own effects kind of thing. They get to float something back out, but now because of worrying all of that, I lost my entire stack. And, you know, I was like, oh yeah, I can bait the ace, but of course they're gonna respect it. Of course they're gonna, you know, play around it as well, and they're not just gonna swing nilly. We're kind of being very obvious, so now we're basically forced to play really back from behind. I'm only forced to basically use their blitz, you know, and try to hang in there and rethread. So yeah, you know, those crucial mistakes or crucial suboptimal plays really led us to this stage, which is kind of unfortunate. But, you know, we're still going to try to hang in there. You know, there's still a possible comeback. They don't have lethal just yet. Is the Ragnarlord going to be coming down? That's what I'm worried. But maybe they just don't have it just yet. But if they have it, and if they do play it, it's pretty much over. But with Mega Digimon Assembly, it only makes sense. So they're going for some searches here. And looks like they're just trying to set up their second board and give us as little memory to work with as possible. Ah, there's the Ragnarlord. There's the Doorbreak. We see it now. All right, looks like they just never had it to begin with, but now we're just in a position again. We're playing from behind. Nothing much we can really do. We don't have a level 5 to climb up. We don't have enough resources to work with either, which is really unfortunate. My hand is basically clunked up with a lot of removal options, which is Chaos Triangular, but can't even use it. Don't even have a red source. So all I can really do here in the end is basically just hard drop BeelStar, basically use Hurricane Screw Shot just to get rid of all their other Digimon. And, you know, as you guys can see, it's pretty much kind of over, you know, seeing if the opponent would, you know, maybe have some kind of ace, other counter ace, but really there's none at this moment. Not in this amount of card pool we can really just counterplay, but I guess they're just gonna be flexing on us a little bit right here, showcasing off their combos, you know, Jazzerich de-digivolving, and then basically, you know, we're losing our BeelStar, and then we ace overflow essentially, which is crazy. They go into their Volcanic, which basically deals with the rest of the Tankmon. There's absolutely nothing in their way, and they can just swing for game. Okay, in this game, we're facing up against Mirage, a pretty strong deck overall still. And yeah, looking at our hand, nope, we're definitely not keeping it. Full of options. We definitely need to see our rookies, very crucial, and our level 4s. That's really the ideal starting hand that we want to see, to at least so we can cycle. This is kind of like stack-based building deck. We want to utilize our when digivolving effects as we're climbing up as well overall. But yeah, first thought, we probably thought Mirage was like a pretty good counter against, you know, with 3 Musketeers, because we have a lot of like removal options that can deal with them. But if you think about it, it doesn't really deal with a lot of them. But with the amount of control, we have to, you know, try to utilize it as much as we can. Yeah, just because we have bombs, we can't just rely on it, essentially. Sometimes the only bomb that really is effective against them is actually Dirt Blitz, because once they go into burst mode, you know, Chaos Triangler doesn't get rid of it. Hurricane Screwshot doesn't get rid of it either. So we're going to have to sort of play a lot back and forth. You know, Mirage is also really good at controlling, especially with the memory gain during the opponent's turn and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're just going to be wary of that. So I'm going to try to basically establish momentum as much as possible here, tucking in Chaos Triangler under Sparrow so I can draw a card, gain a memory. That's really, really important. And yeah, I know I have to be really, really wary about like the amount of cards I'm sort of drawing and searching, because they just end up gaining a lot of memory off of it as well later on. But yeah, we're going to try to basically clear board a little bit here. So again, learning from a little bit from last game, you know, instead of just trying to wait for them to attack or go into Mirage, I don't want to go into Mirage. Since they went out with a Macdow, let's just go straight into a BeelStar, play out an option, even though we don't really get to grab one back, but we can at least deal with that stack out there on the board, and we can slow them down as much as possible. And then now we can actually, you know, start attacking, and we have a really, really, really good board presence and position to be in at the moment. Yes, BeelStar is kind of dangerous just because it has Ace Overflow. If there's anything that can, you know, remove it, we're basically being over. But I felt comfortable swinging in because BeelStar's 13k. I actually rather get rid of it right now in the early game if it was to basically get removed and give them the Ace Overflow rather than Ace Overflowing later, because if I Ace Overflow later and they get rid of it while during their turn, they can do a whole bunch of combo plays and whatnot. So I'm going to decide to basically chip away at the security as much as possible, although I'm giving them quite a bit of setup as well. I feel like I just have to push for game. That's just by the nature. I just have to do it. That's why I Digivolve all the way to a Gigadramon at the back. Ideally, you want to Digivolve in the front. Just because I can get rid of the Thomases, especially the 3-cost ones. That's the only one I can really get rid of. So I see a 3-cost Thomas, so I decide to, okay, you know what, Sparrowmon, you've done your job, fantastic. Let's go up to a Gigadramon and basically try to get rid of it as soon as possible. Although Mirage doesn't really need that 3-cost Thomas, it's always just a nice bonus, but I just felt like, okay, you know, this is a good control right here. We chipped away another security, giving them a blue memory boost, but again, we have to. We want to put them into that 2 security lethal range so we can finish them off. And then we sit here with a Gigadramon, which can potentially blast Digivolve on them as well. But if they climb all the way up to the Mirage, they basically get rid of it. So, you know, again, I felt okay because I have another Gigadramon to work with in raising and I can come out whenever. Looks like they're a little bit of a hiccup on finding pieces. And they are looks like they're missing the level 5, but they finally found it with Huang Kunmon. Huang Kun gets to play out Gao draws, Galga and her gain a memory, keep their turn. Really nice there, obviously. And then they basically, of course, they're going to bounce our Gigadramon. And with the amount of cards we have in the hand, they're just going to gain 2 memory just now. Not too bad, not too bad. So here we're going to come up and yep, we definitely should try to deal with it. I really want to find a way, and you know, again, the Mirage stack is just so crucial to them, and by having a Mirage on the board, that's the nice way to play around it. You know, as soon as they have a Mirage, we need to find a way to get rid of it. So I'm contemplating, okay, I can use some options. Should I push up the Gigadramon, which I do here? And I was like, okay, I could maybe high roll with Gundramon to find the option I need. So I started doing some counting, but I was just like, okay, I don't really want to gamble it either, because if the gamble fails, then, you know, we don't get rid of Mirage. They basically burst mode, full combo all of us, and we're basically going to be gone. So I decided to, again, go for the safer route, Digivolve for 3 into BeelStar, Ace instead. Use Chaos Triangular, which allows me to delete the 12k because it deletes 9k, but if I have a 3 Musketeers, extra 3k for every different name. By getting rid of it, I get Tucking underneath as well, and Kapuri will give me the memory keep turn, and then let's just find a way to get rid of the Galmon. There's no need to really use an option to just to delete the Galmon. I have Collision, so now we're perfect again. We're basically controlling the board very, very, very effectively against them and not letting them to, you know, have any presence to sort of, you know, go for that big turn play and attack. Although it is ideal for Mirage to sort of come out and basically control the board, maybe they should be digivolving at the back. But anyways, they're in lethal range right now. Once we get into BeelStar X, it's gonna be game over. That's what we're trying to get to. But they go for Full Moon Meteor Impact, Ace Overflow, gain memory, and with the amount of cards we have in hand, they're gonna gain a bunch of memory back as well, keeping their turn, and then they can just reset up again. But if we, okay, really, really good play here as well by trashing away our sources. Now our BeelStar Ace barely has any sources for BeelStar X. So I'm just here thinking, okay, this is kind of dangerous because they might come out with Gao. I want to deal with the Zudo because I don't want them to digivolve into Mirage next turn either. And the Ace Overflow is just looking real juicy there. Found the BeelStar X, so I'm really contemplating. I didn't really want to digivolve into it for nothing because now I'm not really like racking up enough options for the trashing combo, but I felt like I really, really want to deal with that Zudo right now. And I'm also trying to see, is like, oh, is there a play where I can actually go into Zwart, one of my, you know, classic favorites. So I do decide to go for it. BeelStar X, at least I can use Durblitz, gain a bunch of memory back to work with now, all the way back to 5. Now I have options. You know, I could actually digivolve here. I can set something up. I don't want to use its when digivolving and its when attacking effect just yet, because if I trash BeelStar Ace and Durblitz, I Ace Overflow anyways. But thinking back, maybe I should, because I did mention earlier, I don't want the opponent to have the Ace during their turn or Ace Overflow during their turn. But I felt like, okay, but I kind of don't want to give them that much memory either, because I know if I put them perfectly back at 3, they can't really fully climb up just yet, depending on what they have. And I felt like, you know, by going to Zwart, I can basically set up this board. I can set up Gigadramon, and with Tankmon here, Tankmon will guarantee me the 3 Musketeer options to be placed back to the top of the deck, which then helps me guarantee Gigadramon's search to basically pop that Thomas. Now, by placing that underneath, you know, I have this board set up, and once again, I'm threatening BeelStar Ace, and we're going to see if they can potentially deal with our board. Again, with Omnimon Zwart, it's just really good because then we can also swing, return something back to our hand to basically delete their unsuspended stuff if they're not careful, and yeah, it's just really good removal. So it looks like they're going to Galga right here. Looks like they're going to try to climb up because they can go all the way through, and then, of course, I believe they do go into the Mirage. Mirage is going to bounce the Gigadra, which kind of feels bad. They just clear the board just like that. But I also felt like, you know, putting these bodies down slows down their lethal potential too. Just because, you know, we wouldn't have to add a security to the hand. So the entire time I'm always, you know, trying to end the board with a body, as you guys can see, even though knowing that Mirages might just bounce it off. But if they bounce it off, it's not a big deal. We get to use it again, which is kind of nice. But yeah, the whole idea is to not let them bounce their security, because once it gets into that kind of lethal range, them going into burst mode, it's just going to be huge. And yeah, we're basically in a danger zone right here, essentially. You know, they're going to go into that, exactly what we said, bounce their stuff, Ace Overflow, gain a ton of memory from burst mode as well, their maximum memory. Things are just looking super doomed now. Oh my goodness. And they're going to be bottom decking our hand, which we're going to lose a lot of pieces. And depending on what they take away from us, you know, it could be you know, basically over. But ooh, this is why I run the Omnimon Zwart. They swing him with Mirage Burst Mode without jamming, and yeah, really unfortunate for them and really, really lucky for us. This is a potential for us to actually turn everything around and potentially even make a game-winning play if we can. But, you know, with a Tankmon in the back and only 1 memory to work with, not the greatest. We have to find a way. I really want to push out and start doing something. You know, I wanted to digivolve and sort of like establish and all that kind of stuff, but maybe I should actually just even hard play the mat. If I had the mat. If I hard play the mat, then I can grab a piece back and I can, you know, ensure that my memory starts at 3. Okay, I don't have a mat. You know, I thought I had a mat during that time. But anyways, I just felt like, okay, I need a Digivolve into level 5. I have to Digivolve level 5, sit there, and basically try to apply pressure as much as possible. You know, I can go into one of my level 6s, 3 Musketeers later on, and basically try to stay in the game. And again, control as much as I can until I find my other BeelStar X. But here we can see it's kind of dangerous. They have the level 3 Mac out in the back. They're ready to attack and all of that. So we're going to Digivolve into Toyago in the back because we want to climb up a little bit. And then we're going to see here, like, okay, I'm definitely not going to swing because, you know, run into something big, then I'd lose my stack. I don't want that to happen. Digivolve into level 4 Deputy at the back as well. Now use Gundras. Although not being able to use the Musketeer option cards to like remove anything is totally fine. The idea for me is to tuck something underneath. And by tucking something underneath, Kapuri will gain me a memory back. And then I could also basically have additional protection with Gundramon, which is really good because now here, Gundramon is also a blocker. We can stop their attacks if they try to attack into us. And, you know, even if we block or might get leave from the battle area, we can also still toss away the options from our sources loading as ammo. And remember, guys, those options, if they're trashed by effects, we get to interrupt with them. Their Blitz will de-Digivolve them. So that's a really good play around, especially against Burst Mode or getting rid of Mirage if we really need to. Hurricane Screw Shots, we can even potentially steal the turn back from them because just by gaining out 1 memory. So if they're right at 0, we have that chance. We just have that chance. Gundramon is just so good, such a strong card. Unfortunately, we didn't able to see it sooner, but now it's finally here to help us keep us in the game. Of course, they're going to go into the Mirage. How many Mirages have they cycled to this point? Ooh, grabbing their Blitz. Our security is actually cracked, and they're going to gain a bit of memory. Now, it's kind of nice that the Burst Mode bottom decked a lot of our cards back down to 8 earlier because now they're not gaining as much memory as they really should. Now with the Mirage, they don't really want to swing in because they don't have TP buffs. Even they have jamming, we're just going to block with Gundra right away. So they're going to have to like miss a lot of like opportunities of extra attacks from the Mac out and Heritable. So we're pretty good, you know. Gundra is actually just straight up MVP. And if they don't deal with the Gundra right now, we can potentially also utilize Gigadramon's Collision and force them to block and basically get rid of it. So here they're really trying to slow us down. They're also really worried that we have a BeelStar X. That's the thing, but little they don't know, we just don't have one. But that would have been really ideal because now we have that. If we had the BeelStar X, then we can basically finish off the game. Also really smart to put down the Galmon because that means like even when we try to force a collision there, they just simply block with the Galmon. So I felt like, okay, I really need to deal with this Mirage here once again. You know, same concept. Their Blitz is not going to work this time because their Blitz only pops the lowest play cost. So only Chaos Triangler can help us deal with that, basically. And I do have it, so I'm just thinking, okay, should I push up Deputymon? Maybe I should. I just want to establish a little bit. Maybe I can use Deputymon to attack, trash something, de-Digivolve it, and then maybe even, you know, potentially use Hurricane Screw Shot to delete both things on the board. I'm trying to think, okay, what's my best line to play to get rid of both things right here? And yeah, so many things to think about. There's quite a lot of options. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, Ice Wall, losing 2 memory. That could be a big problem too. And how much memory do I want to give them back? I don't want to give them too much either. So I decided to, you know, just go, okay, you know what? Chaos Triangler. Let's just get rid of it and leaving the Gal. But I think looking back, I think the better play was to swing with Deputy. Deputy is going to trash my own Gundramon's Dirt Blitz to de-Digivolve their Mirage Gal, and then afterwards we can kind of use like Hurricane Screw Shot and still perfectly put them back to 3 by removing all their bodies right there. So, but also now looking back, like if I wasn't gonna use the Deputymon play, why am I pushing it out? I'm pretty much putting it in the danger zone right here for it to be bounced too. But also like I'm thinking at the same time, you know what? If they go into another Mirage here, at least Deputymon is the one being bounced. Looks like they want to go for an attack here. But you guys might realize we were able to control the game and stay as long as much as possible to this point where they actually almost gonna deck out. That's why they didn't really use the Thomas. And we basically been through at least 3 BT11 Mirages to basically finish off the turn there. Looks like they just wanted to end the board here with the other Mirage, but unfortunately no Tamers to bounce off of us, even though they basically have to put us back to like 3 or maybe 2 somehow. And with that, I was planning like, okay, this is perfect opportunity. I have 4 memory to work with. Even if I had 3 memory, I would actually swing with Deputy, toss away Hurricane's Screw Shot from underneath Gundra to gain that memory back, just because I need to grab this mat, because the mat will give me access back to BeelStar X. And with BeelStar X, we can just Digivolve for 1, play out the option, Dirt Blitz to get rid of it, tuck it back underneath. Kapuri is going to gain the memory back right here, and then we can go for the game-winning combo and swing when Digivolving, when attacking, trash all security, and go for game. Make sure to get your very own copy of the Star Shooter playmat on the AVAULT store right now. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you in the next video. And this is AVAULT signing